Hello everyone, welcome to Saturn Gaming. I want to show you the game that I was playing here. And this is, I'm by no means I'm an expert or anything. I'm very much a noob when it comes to Age of Empires. This is Age of Empires Definitive Edition on Steam. And this is a 1v1 game I played. What was it on? I think it was on, I'm playing as the Lithuanians versus the Malians, right? And our opponent, I don't know why it says Saturn. It was definitely not Saturn. It was another guy we were playing against. I don't know why it's glitching like this. But I'm the blue. I played in the blue for this game. So on this map, this is like African clearing. You basically, it's surrounded by trees and it's kind of like a nomad start. So as you can see, this is all I could see at the time. I didn't have a lot, but I knew that, okay, I got some fish here, got some big baboa trees, or baobab trees, whatever they're called. You know, the Rafiki trees from Lion King, right? But little did I know, my enemy is right over here. So if you remove the fog of war and look at the map, here I am, right? And just up the way, here's red, right? So with red, they were playing as the Malians, and they're very interesting. They're more of an infantry civ, right? Gebetto is their unique unit, and Farimba is a good tech that goes for their cavalry. Big thing to know is that their barrack units have more armor per stage starting in feudal. So I really thought he was going to go infantry. Meanwhile, Lithuanians very much are a... let me just switch back to me. Lithuanians are more of a cavalry civilization. I'm more of an infantry guy by heart. I love infantry, but Lithuanians, being close to Polacks, me being a Polak, I had to go with it. Get 150 food when you start. But your trash is decent because they move quicker, and there's a tech that gives them a little bit more HP, right? The Latest, though, is a fantastic unit that is as powerful as the number of relics that you have. Basically, it has 12 attack, and it gets +1 attack per relic. So if you go back to see what I'm working on, what's the difference in build order between the two of us? So I started getting up, I have one guy working on town center, my other two villagers getting my houses up so I won't be population capped right off the start, right? If we look at what the opponent was doing, I don't know why he started on sheep right away. He has two building the town center, so theoretically he's building it quicker than me. But he can't see how he's standing there. His villager has 10 food, but can't do anything. Meanwhile, his sheep is now decaying. If you see how it went from 80 to 79, it's ideal that you try to focus on one animal at a time when you're gathering food from it, if you can, right? So if you look at what I'm doing, I'm starting to use my sheep to scout. I'm not really great at this. By no means am I a pro. In fact, I'm very much a noob. And this is going in the Noobs Play AOE playlist on my channel. But I decided to try scouting with sheep, because you don't have a scout when you start on this type of map. And I needed to get a little more information, and I'm glad I did, because I found out I had a rhino nearby, which is basically the boar of Africa, right? At least on the maps. Looking at red, both of us haven't scouted a whole lot. He's got a close boar. He actually put a very good position to pick a town center. Primarily because he's got all this wood back here, so he doesn't really have to build a lumber camp right away. He will to make upgrades. But he's got gold stone, early gold and stone, which is pretty good. Myself, not the most ideal spot, but not bad. I've got some early game resources nearby. I saw that there was zebra I could hunt, right? So that was why I went for this location. I also figured I'd try to go right away, so that I can just get booming right away, right? Because I can always figure it out. I can always build mills a little bit farther away. I'm low elo, very much low elo. I'm between 800 to I would say like 850, right? Sometimes winning, sometimes losing, often losing. I've only played about 10 games, but I've been a big fan all my life. And here's a mistake I make. Oh, I thought that, okay, good. No, it's not a mistake. Good. So build order I've been doing is I've got 6 on food, 3 on wood. You can see it's a little different from my opponent. He's basically gone straight food. Not a bad move. He was able to afford more villagers. Well, he's able to keep producing. And, well, food is very important. But for me, I know that I'm going to have to transition to farms. And I also like to make a house wall, which requires a lot of wood. I find it's a better wall than a palisade wall. Houses having 550. And upon each upgrade, they get more and more powerful, right? Or more HP. So I've got my 4 on wood. I'm going to be sending one to collect my board, start sending it in. I have researched loom at this point, so my villagers are a little more buff. I'm not sure if red has. I'm assuming he has. Chico. The Malians, hilarious. So luring the boar in, I've shot it. These guys are getting ready to attack. I'm pulling them out. Not the greatest move, but I still have 17 food here that I'm going to be wasting. I do put a villager on that sheep, and I think I'm targeting the rest of them over here. And I've sent one to the shorefish, right? Because that's a decent, quick couple food here. 800 food altogether when I collect it, right? So worth looking at. So it's a little bit slow at this point in the game. How's the opponent doing? See, tons on food, right? Tons on food. And good on him, like he's definitely collecting. He gets house capped. It's funny, we actually got house capped at the same time, showing that we're both noobs. I got population capped, but fortunately I went pretty quick, saw it coming. And I'm going to be building a bunch of houses you'll be seeing. Okay, so what am I focusing on here? Yeah, at this point, these trees are 200 wood each. I'm clearing them because they're a great wood source. And eventually I'll be making farms all around the area if I can. But I'll transition to the wood line back here. I don't know if I knew it at the time. Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet, but I kind of knew that the map had wood around the edges. So, it wasn't a bad move. Let's see what Red sees right now. He's starting to change his economy up, as you can see. So he's starting to put more on wood. But and he's got 17 villagers altogether. Whereas I'm looking at, we're both tied on vills. Little bit distribution, a little bit slightly different distribution. I'm diversifying my food source because I don't have great food. And actually he's doing the same thing. Yeah, he's going for his shorefish and he's going to hunt his zebras. So he's doing good. He's got 19 vills versus my 18, right? So I am producing, but I must have gone idle for a moment there. There's something slow, right? I should make it known also I don't play with hotkeys, which is kind of a problem. The score difference you're seeing is most likely from the amount of food that I have out there. Or sorry, the amount of buildings that I produced, right? Because when you build things, I think it counts towards your points. I might have a little more scouted than him even on the map. That can count for it too. So Red's catching on. He's going to start building. He makes a nice little house wall here. To me, it's not very effective. He might not know the map very well. Or he does, and he's just grouping them all in one spot. I'd be putting them forward so that it's some kind of protection around your base, right? And you'll see that's something that might be his downfall later on. It was a close game, let me tell you. Why I'm showing you this game, couple reasons. Okay, very low and noob game, so I think it's hilarious to see all the mistakes. But that being said, it was one of my better games I've played so far, and I'm looking to see how I can improve from it. The funny thing is, you'll see that the opponent went Malians, and I went Lithuanians. And what you think both units or both civilizations should be doing, they actually did this. We both did the strength of our opposing civilization. So what I mean by that is, Malians should have gone infantry, but he went cavalry. Lithuanians should have went cavalry, but I ended up going infantry. That's not fully true. I did do some cavalry, but that being said, I needed infantry at one critical moment to turn the tide, and you'll see that a little bit later on. So if we remove Fog of War, yeah, we haven't really gone out too far. He's got vills that are still collecting from the zebra. Okay, I'll put... You guys like Fog on? No Fog. I kind of like Fog to see what we knew at the time. So all his vills are doing a little rotational merry-go-round around the shorefish here. He's got a barracks up. And, let's see here. Yep, so I'm sending a vill forward to kind of scout, see what's going on, because I'm thinking about building a wall, right? I've kind of got a bit of a wall going. So the way my walls, I like to do them, I've seen the pros do it. They make a wall and they have a base on the edge of their wall, so they can send military units out instead of having them inside, having to run them through a gate, if you can avoid it, right? Now here I've got a bunch up. There's too many vills hanging around doing nothing there. So I figured that out, and I think I start sending them. I get to feudal first, but that's not a great indicator of what's going on. I only have 21 villagers. I am researching critical upgrades for wood and food collection. Now my opponent gets there right away too. And he's got 23 vills, so he's actually 2 vills ahead. Even though I got up earlier, he has more vills, and you're going to see that he's going to actually overpass me at one point for economy, or at least for score. Partly that is because he focuses on military earlier. That's a weakness I have. I need to get better at making military. And what am I diversifying now? So I've got 14 food, 9 wood. I'm sending a lot to wood because I have to transition to farms, right? I don't really have any... I could go mill the shorefish over here, but I want to kind of see. This is me being a noob. I'm scared of getting rushed, so I'd like to start building farms around my town center, because then I can send everybody in and I can shoot them down if there's a problem. So that's what I'm working on. Meanwhile, Buddy's making his first lumber camp here, right? And he's gonna, because he's gonna need that upgrade that's keeping him behind. Now he gets wheelbarrow before me, I'm pretty sure. If I go back to mine, yeah, I don't think I researched it right away, and that's actually kind of critical, because he starts collecting more resources per carry. I forget the exact amount. Let's take a look at that again. Should be in our, we look at our eco upgrade here. Where are we here? Yeah, wheelbarrow. Villagers work more efficiently by moving 10% faster and carry 25% more resources. So I think they carry like 2 more or 3 more resources per trip if they can collect 10 altogether. But they work faster, right? So it actually does add up over time. Spirit of the Law on YouTube has a great video about when to get wheelbarrow, and ideally you do it when you have about 18 farms. So primarily I didn't go for it right away. I knew that just pumping out bills, getting more wood to make more farms would be more critical. I do start to gather on gold, and I believe my opponent actually got there before me on gold, which can and cannot be critical. It actually gets to be a problem for me a little bit, because I don't quite have enough gold to get up to castle right away. And you'll see, he actually beats me to castle, which, honestly, I would say from feudal to castle, that's a huge jump. And I could be wrong about that, but for me, I think it's a huge jump. Reason being, you get access to siege, you get access to like way better upgrades on the military, and just access to knights. And like knights are just, they wreck basically anything in feudal, right? They can even take on spears. Obviously, enough spears can take them on, but yeah, you definitely don't want to. You want to get the castle as soon as you can. So my opponent actually does a good job doing that. Let's see what he sees. He's getting the necessary buildings down to get to the next stage. He's getting blacksmith. He does actually have almost the gold, and he does have the food to get to castle. So he's real close. But he's got the blacksmith. He's making a stable, and you're going to see that he doesn't actually really produce any military right away until he gets right to castle. But as for me, I'm only just getting my stable up. I don't have a blacksmith or anything. Like, this is, I'm starting to fall behind a little bit. It doesn't look like it from the score, but you can see he's narrowed the gap quite a bit, and it's not going to be long before he gets there. I am making a forward stable. At this point, I have no idea where he is, right? And I realized, okay, I'm thinking maybe scout rush, but at the very least, I need to go scout. I need to go scout what's going on. Here, I think I'm safe with the walls, but see how my villas walked around the shore? This actually will be a problem for me a little bit later. But we, you know, you live and you learn. Right, so we're making the stable, and my pumping vills. See, my town center's idle, and what I should be doing here is actually making more vills, and I'm not, and that's a big mistake. That's a lot of downtime where I could have been doing something. I catch my mistake and I start making vills. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Meanwhile, he's got 33 vills. I think that's more than me at this point. Oh, we're tied. We're tied. We're tied. My distribution is more on food and wood, so 18 and 12. And he's got 9 and 17. He's kind of transitioned a little bit, and he kind of had to, right? He kind of had to, because he focused all on food. Didn't quite have enough for the farms, right? So that being said, I mean, his economy is well balanced. Like, it's definitely, I think he's doing better than I am in many ways. I'm using a lot of my food, or sorry, wood, just to get my necessary buildings up now. To get my blacksmith down. I'm getting a market down, so I can buy and sell if I need to, because I have not focused on stone at all, and I know I'm going to need it, right? So at this point I'm starting to make scouts as well. I have the food for it, right? I have the food for it, so I start to make some scouts. And once again, idle town center though. This is not good, so I'm seeing the mistakes that I'm making. I am pulling ahead a little bit, but that's because I'm starting to make military, right? So that contributes quite a bit. So he has not built any new areas. He's starting to make more farms because he can afford it now. So he's going to probably, yeah, he's pulling the villagers off wood to make more farms. And because he's researching castle, right? So he's going to actually get the castle before me. I've clicked up at this point. He's slightly ahead. I'm building my final kind of wall here to wall myself in. I think I'm safe on this side. You know, I haven't built anything on this side though, so that could become a problem for me. I have an idle bill. Oh yeah, that's from the wall. And I have my scouts. And very soon I'm going to be sending them out to take a look around. So, he has not made anything yet. He doesn't have a scout, as far as I'm aware. Not a bad eco. And he's almost a castle. So, my eco is getting better. I send my scouts out, and this is where I'm going to start taking a look around, see what I can find. I did research bloodlines. I think if you see... Yeah, so I've researched bloodlines so they have more HP. I've given them an attack and defense upgrade, so my scouts will be a little bit superior to my opponent at this point, right? I always try to get those upgrades because, like, just that extra little bit of damage or that extra little bit of armor means a lot. Here we go. Malians gets up to Castle, and he's getting handcart. Now, he never got Loom, which is kind of funny, but as for myself, I'm behind, and at this point I'm getting a little bit nervous. I haven't found him yet. I'm looking around the countryside for him. I'm thinking, oh crap, maybe... But I know he hasn't found me yet either, because I never saw him. So, well, actually I don't know that for a fact, but... So, I get up to Castle, and I'm researching husbandry after this to make my cavalry faster, because I'm going Lithuanians. I'm thinking cavalry, that's going to be quick. I'm finding some stray sheep, sending them forward, back to my base. Now, what is my opponent starting to do? So, opponent is starting to build siege and archery. So, he's thinking about possibly ramming down me when he gets a chance, right? He's now also making knights, which is actually far superior to my scouts. Basically, I didn't get a proper scout rush in, which is a no-no. For Lithuanians, I probably should have tried a scout rush. With that extra 150 food, that actually means a lot. So I could have done something with that. So now, I'm making villas, because I'm going to be dropping the town center here. It's a little bit forward, but I can collect stone and I can increase the wood line over this way, right? Making more cavalry. I haven't found him yet, so I'm running all over thinking, where the Sam Hill is this guy? You know? Sheep are coming in. I had some rhinos, I didn't even know it. At this point I'm making monastery, because for Lithuanians I gotta get those relics. It's gonna give my latest lots of armor. Or lots of attack, that is. So I'm making monastery. And now I see Buddy comes in with his knight. So he tries to hurt my guys a little bit. He starts attacking. I send my scouts, which isn't great. And let's see it from his perspective. So he runs off. You can see that he's looking around the map, but he has found me at this point. And now we're both probably thinking, oh boy, we're close to each other. There's going to be a fight. He sees the eco difference, and he's probably thinking I'm going to start ramping him with an army. Right? Now, over to me. I'm still running around. Right? And I've only made scouts. They are light cavalry now, I've upgraded them. But what am I doing? So, if you're looking at my civilians, I got 40 villagers. Meanwhile, he's got 39, so we're very close. But he's got, I would argue, better military than me. So I'm sending these 5 forward to try to get a little bit of raiding done. And you'll see what I find. So I know he came from this way, right? So I'm going to send my guys forward. And I do see him right away, but he's got his knights. And they are superior. Got 11 attack, I've only got 9. I've got better upgrades than him. But they're just a better unit in general, right? So, meanwhile, I'm like, okay, if I lose some scouts, that's fine. I'm just going to take a look and see what's going on. I wanted to know what was going on at his base. I make a mistake and run into town center fire, right? And I get kind of trapped in here at one point. Now, he's also started to make cavalry archers, so keep that in mind. That's something that can pick me off as well. Now, back to this is what Red can see. So he's hunting me down here. And he's got a pretty big army. Right? Bigger than mine at this point. Because I am trying to get things rolling. Now I'm starting to make some knights, as you can see. Right? In response. I send a ram forward. I send a ram forward. I'm thinking like maybe I can hit something. It was probably just like a pot shot at best. Meanwhile I'm on 50 bills. And he's on 42. So really, the thing that he's got over me is he's got a better military, and it's going to give us problems here. You're going to see. He misses my Vil. I think my Vil just runs. So I don't know what he was running back. Oh, he runs back. He sends the whole army back to take care of the ram, which is kind of funny. Bought me some time, which was all right. Meanwhile, I'm trying to, what am I doing here? I'm trying to build a forward stable so I can kind of mass production and send forward once I'm ready. I'm not quite ready yet. I have collected a relic at this point. I've got one, which is good. So I'm going to start making gold for free from those relics, right? So I'm making a stable, and my next thought is I'm kind of liking this gold and this stone. Maybe I can put a forward town center here, get a little stone, get a little gold, right? So let's see what's going on with these guys. So Red Set is trying to build a forward castle, right? And that's a smart move because then it can protect his units coming in. He could even build a siege workshop somewhere close by. On my perspective, I don't know what's going on, right? So I'm gonna build a town center, and what am I exactly doing? I'm still making bills, so that's good. I'm doing a good job on the bill production. I'm making bills out of this new town center, and we have a skirmish. Okay, we have skirmish. I send my knights forward. What knights I do have, but my light cav goes down pretty quick. I then see this, right? I'm like, oh boy. So I know there's vills around. I'm gonna try to find them, and it's only one vill, fortunately. So I'm able to hack her down. Meanwhile, though, I only have 3 knights, so that isn't good. Red has a superior army for sure, which he can use to move in, and he's going to come in and start shooting me down. I'm trying to get this town center up with 1 villager, but it's not a great idea. The knights come in, and it's basically bye-bye. So this is what Red sees so far. He sees I've got some kind of a wall going on here, and he's just going to focus on taking down this town center. Good idea. It denies me from what's going on, right? He gets population cap. Meanwhile, on my side, I see what's going on. I'm just trying to boom up a little bit. I know he can't get through the stone. No matter what he does, he'd have to mine it to get through, so I'm pretty good here. And I've diversified my economy. I've sent some other vills to different areas to collect resources. I plan to, you'll see that at one point I'm going to make a mining camp and spam vills to get more gold here. All these other blues on the map are just sheep I found. So this is all I see. I know a castle was going up, and it probably has, is what I'm thinking. As you can see, he's going to get it up without any kind of resistance. His military, altogether, there's 15 units, and they're pretty powerful units. So here he comes in for an attack. Because I'm trying to make knights, I'm spamming them out. Really what I should be doing is holding them back. I've got some light cavalry here that I'm making. In case I see a ram come in, I'm going to send those out and take care of the ram. So my units are going to be going down. This is where Red surpasses my score, as you can see. So now Red's giving me a problem. He's going to shred through, the castle's up, it's shooting down my town center. I try to quick wall here real quick. And I do a good job on this wall. The problem is I didn't know there's going to be a small gap right here that they can actually get in. And so that ended up hurting me at one point. I did actually close the shore. I thought I didn't. That's what happened. It came in through the gap. So he's got cavalry archers. I know light cav is good against cavalry, so I send them in. I do ring the town bell just to scare him off. And then I think I quickly unring. Now, this skirmish doesn't go too well for me. And I think at this point, I send a bunch of bills to make a castle, because I got the stone for it. Yeah, well, let's see what Red can see. So Red sees that, okay, this has been successful so far. He thinks I might be in my town center still. He's going to keep pressing. That's the right move. What I argue he should have done, use these idols and made a siege workshop and send in a ram. Just to start hammering through, right? So, on this level, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna make a castle quick. And that's okay, because he's focusing all on my front line here. I am going to lose some pop space, but I'm going to get this castle up. Because even if he comes in and runs in, I'll be forcing it up, and then that will be effective. I think he sees the castle's up, and he starts to retreat a little bit. So that gives me some time. So while that was going on, I was replacing bills and sending them into the wood line that I took from the wood line, right? But I still have a lot of idols that I need to do something about. I'm spamming knights out, but that was a mistake a little bit. The thing is, he has a force. He could actually do some damage to me. I start creating Latus, the unique cavalry of the Lithuanians. So remember, this is an infantry civ, the Malians, but he's sending cavalry galore, right? And this is where I start thinking, like, okay, I need a university. I got to get murder holes in case he does come in. I am getting some units though. That was a mistake, sending a knight forward. That's going to do nothing. And I try to reboom here, so I'm like, okay, barracks. if I make more barracks, I can start making pointy boys for all these this cavalry. At least defensive pointy boys, right? They might not be my advanced army, but they'll be my defense army. With my arrow cover, I should be okay. So what am I doing? I've spammed a bunch for gold here, as you can see. And what do I see? I don't know what's going on. I know he's got a castle. Meanwhile, Buddy he's sending bills forward to get gold. He makes a critical mistake and he doesn't make another town center. And I think that was the mistake here because he starts to slow down his eco. I know it doesn't look like it from the score, but you'll see at one point he stops making villagers. He is going up to Imperial, and I think I clicked it up somewhere. Maybe I didn't. So I make a gate now instead, and I'm starting to build another siege workshop because I'm like, maybe I can get in and ram them down. And barracks for sure, right? And I have another barracks here, so I've got a couple barracks in mind, right? I'm still going for that town center. If I can get that gold, that'll be alright. I've got my knight. I've got my siege workshop. So here he comes in. But I don't think he sees my guilds. I don't think he sees my guild. And what I do is I'm going to make another barracks. Meanwhile, I'm researching all the upgrades to start making better pikemen. I'm giving them, I'm amassing them up, as you can see, right? So I'm going to give them arson, I'm going to make them faster, I'm going to hit with pikes. I'm getting all my other upgrades I need for the blacksmith, right? I think I've clicked up, I clicked up to Imperial at this point. So he's going to beat me to Imperial. Oh yeah, he got there already. Yeah, so he got to Imperial, which is going to be a problem, right? So he's preparing a full-scale invasion. He's got all his units in his castle ready to go. He's starting to make trebs, right? Now he sees I'm making a town center. He knows I made a couple other places here, but he's not quite sure what's going on, right? So he shoots down a villa or two of mine. In all honesty, it's not a great town center because of the castle, but... and then I got wise, and I'm like, okay, I better make some defense here. I've got 2 relics at this point, by the way. I make some walls here, so that if he tries to get around the backside, I'll be safer. Right? Meanwhile, Red is focusing on... I don't know why, but he made a wall of outposts. I think it's to kind of like see as maximally as he can into what's going on. Right? So, yeah, Red's got the superior eco at this point. Right? He's got the superior score by a significant margin. So I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm kind of screwed. But I do have 10 Lithuanian latest, and I just got to Imperial, and I'm making pikemen. So I'm thinking, okay, pikemen, alright, Malians are good at infantry, but I might as well try to do something here. I'm going to at least stop his line of sight. That's something I can try. Now that will trigger a response from him to send in his military, I believe. He's getting them massed up and ready. He starts trebbing down my town center, and he sends in his cavalry. But I've got pointy boys lined up, and this is where I'm going to go back to my perspective. I'm like, okay, do or die. This is probably the time I do it. I can't lose any more of my siege here. I'm researching Cap Ram, and I want that Cap Ram, so I'm sending in my stuff. And I have resources to spam, so I'm going to spam. And here come the latest. I'm like, you know what? I've got 2 relics. That means their attack is boosted. If you look at one of my units, it's got that's from the relics. It was +2 from the upgrade and +2 from the relics. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. And I'm like, I'll hunt down those cavalry to at least like stop any archery, right? Archery ranges. And I'm trying to send some light cavalry forward to stop the trebs because they trying to take down my buildings, right? I don't want this castle to go down, so I need conscription to make more units quicker. I'm gonna spam pikemen here, you know. And meanwhile, he's coming in. This is a critical mistake that he made. I think he sends all the cavalry to shoot down my wall. And my knight picks them off one by one. It's crazy. So he just, like, he threw that, to be honest. Because I think he just, like, auto-left it. So he's over here trying to take down my pikes, but my pikes are hitting him. My ram's getting in and doing some damage on the outpost, but I need to get that castle down. So what am I focusing on? I'm making some trebs, and I'm going to restock my latest. Right? Alright, so what else is going on? So this is the critical point of the game. And at this point, I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at the score, and I'm coming back. And I remembered something T90 said. Because he said, like, do not give up. Basically, fight to the death and do not give up. So I was like, okay, I have resources. I think I can do this. I just have to, like, survive. I gotta take these trebs down. And then if I can do that, maybe I can send some rams to take the castle. You know, and there I am making up rams, right? So I got my Treb out. I'm like, okay, Treb the castle down. Treb the castle down, and let's see what we can do, right? So I'm massing pointy boys still, because I'm like, and I got halberdiers, so now they're pointy halberdiers. I don't know why he made petards. He takes down my armory here, right, or my blacksmith. So I'm sending rams. I've got some trebs. We're gonna try to take it down. He sees that, and I think he tries to go for. Yeah, he takes down my workshop. So I'm losing stuff here, right? Like, but I'm coming back. It's not as big of a gap. So he's gonna send in his trebs to take down my castle, of course, right? I see what's going on. I'm like, okay, I got no other choice. I gotta go take these. I gotta go take these out, right? So I send my Latus out. I have a lone villager here, and I do catch that, and I start to make something here to replace it. But I'm like, okay, I'll take the castle out. He's focused on this skirmish going on. If I can get these trebs down, we've got a shot here. Right? My castle shoots the petards before they get to it. It does some damage, but at this point, he's, I'm pulling ahead. I'm blue, right? So I've pulled ahead, and that's because I've taken out most of his military at this point, and I'm still pumping. So I'm like, okay, this is my time to shine. I have to move. I have to make a move here, or I'm not gonna recover from this. So I'm gonna spam the Latus, basically, right? I'm making a stable. I'm gonna make another siege workshop to replace the one that fell down, right? And this stable was to make more light cavalry if I had to, right? Meanwhile, I've made stables over here, so I've got villagers all over the place doing stuff. I've moved them around to get more gold. I've made a massive amount on gold at one point, like 19 bills. And I've got pointy boys, I've got light cav, you know, I'm like, okay, let's take these outposts out so we can't see what's going on. Let's see what he's doing back at his base, right? So back at home, he's got lots of food and wood, and he's massing up, he's getting upgrades for Cavalier. He's gonna start pumping out units. But he's capped on gold, so he hasn't spent that time looking for gold, right? He got a little bit over here, but he didn't expand out into the map to get gold, and now he sees that I've got Latus hitting him down, right? I send a Treb forward. This is a little bit ambitious. I probably shouldn't have done this. So the reason I did this was I'm like, see if I can hit something down. It's going to draw his attention. I can spam in light cav and try to take out his, because light cavalry has good pierce armor, right? So like they can take arrow shots pretty good. So I'm like, I'm going to clear this up so he can't see what's going on, you know. And I'm going to send my pointy boys out. So here's that switch. Here's that switch. Here comes the pointy boys. What should be what a Malian is doing, sending infantry forward, is what a Lithuanian is doing. So we're gonna pester him. We're not gonna allow his vills to go back. This is an idle economy at one point because he's taking vills off to repair this. And I wouldn't repair the archery range. Now he did clear up my light cav, and he thinks that these are gonna do okay. This might be him being noob, but like the pointy boys are gonna shred through the horses, right? And that's why I'm like, okay, if you're gonna go horses, I gotta go the counter. I can't make camels, so best I can do is pointy boys, you know. Now enough cavalry archers, he'd take me out. And then I just start going, alright, well, if I can get some vill kills, let's do it. He can't see what's going on anymore now, right? He knows I'm making something here, right? So let's look at it from my perspective now. So I've sent a lot forward. I've sent all my latest forward that I have, and I'm making more if I can. This was the critical turning point. Look at the eco change now. 8,000 to 6,000, well 7,000 really. I'm making more latest. We've got units ready to go. I've upgraded the Hussar. I'm ready to take them out. I'm trying to build more houses just so I can get it up. And I've got a lot of, I wouldn't say map control, but map diversity. Because I've got units everywhere, right? So now I'm back in. I'm going to keep pressuring. And I'm just gonna harass this line. And that's where the game ends. He calls the GG, and that's that. So let's look at the map for a moment. Good start. But he never got a relic, number one. So he had limited gold production versus my two relics here. Oh, here we are. My 2 relics. And you're going to see that when I look at the stats, you're going to see why that's significant. The other thing is, yes, he had some gold at the start of his base, and he did expand out to one other pile. But after that, he didn't have a whole lot going on. So his only other choice was to start sending stuff forward to other areas. I had a lone hussar here guarding the relic because I meant to go get that, but I didn't get a chance. He made a good early push, and he honestly had me on the brink of destruction. But I remember T90's words. I remembered that you can't, you have to try not to give up. And I also remembered that if I start making, like, if I just send vills to go do things and boom up, I'm going to have a good chance at winning here. Look at my eco at the end of the day. 68 vills, which is not great. It should be a lot higher than that. But I have enough food and wood and gold that I could start spamming trash if I needed to. You know, I haven't even upgraded to elite Latus yet, right? And but I was going to start, my next plan was to start harassing and then get those upgrades and start spamming out pointy boys, right? Because Lithuanian pointy boys have a little more HP, so I can at least soak up whatever he tries to do. Another mistake, he only had a couple military buildings for production. So one building is not as effective as making multiple buildings to make multiple units. Remember, at one early point in the game, I was making pointy boys in both these barracks. So basically, I'm making two at the same time as only one. So for this, I'm not speaking English properly. If I make one pointy boy here, it will take the same amount of time as if I make another one here. So instead of having two queued up in one, I have one queued up in one barrack and one queued up in the other barrack. And now I've made two for the time of one, if that makes sense, right? And that's just more production. Especially with the resources, pointy boys costing wood and food, I could spam out a whack ton. I could actually make probably a couple barracks and start sending stuff in, right? But with the relics I had at this point, it was probably better if I switched back to cavalry. But I mean, my halberdiers weren't bad. 8 attack, good armor, and we were pressuring, you know. So at the end of the day, let's take a look at these stats. If I check the statistics, Malians had the better military for a fact, right? And he had a society, well, we both had a society score the same. But overall, I had that economy, and I had those upgrades, right? And you can see the score difference. So just to kind of show you a brief, the timeline here, you can see that, okay, I advanced before him for feudal. Now he did beat me on the 2 upgrades to the other ages. And he did make, you can see the darker color here, he made more military faster than I did, right? I made some scouts and then I had problems, and then I ramped up my production at the end, right? But you can see that my population overall got higher, and that's from a lot of my vills. So military score, he killed more units than I killed, right? I only killed 87. So he was a better military, like he had better army than me. His army composition was better, but the game did turn around. I actually think he quit a little too easy at the end there, because I think he actually could have kept fighting. He could have sent more vills to start making different military buildings and fought back with trash, right? But I ended up taking out a lot of his buildings. I lost the most I lost the least amount of buildings. And it's funny, our armies were not that big, right? But it's those upgrades I had. I think that was a big deal. And the right counters, knowing what counters are good against other counters. But this is really where it comes down to, right? So food, wood, stone, gold, right? And significant gold too. Especially when he was going cavalry, right? So if you can't afford to make units, start going trash if you can. At least they're bodies that can block. You know, at least they're bodies that can block the way and maybe take out some of the more expensive units, right? Spirit of the Law talks about how trash can be really effective. You can see how he beats me on the upgrade times. Not by much, but significant enough. You know, map explored. I could see more of the map too, right? And I diversified in the map. And I had slightly more things researched than he did. Probably the right research numbers. This is probably the most critical thing. Well, 2 things. Knowing my counters and having more gold. Because then I could afford the more expensive, valuable units later game. I got that from my relics. That's primarily how that happened, right? So overall I had about 2,000 more gold than he did. And I did that through relic collection as well as diversifying on the map, right? The biggest thing here as well, huge eco lead compared to him in terms of villagers. That's 22 villager difference, right? If you split that between the 4 resources, that's about 5 extra villagers per resource doing more work with the upgrades, right? So that over time, that's like exponential, right? So, yeah, basically, that's all she wrote, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching. It's been Rex Saturn Gaming, and hope you have a good one. Looking forward to making more Noobs Play AOE. Have a good one.